Well, the 75th anniversary of Thomas is coming up. What should I review? Maybe a new item for 2020, like a Thomas Wood or a Thomas Trackmaster? Maybe I'll get into the motorized stuff? Man, Big World Big Adventures is really just trying to get toy sales. I remember I don't remember, but, the days when Thomas was first created, the Reverend W. Audrey just wanted to amuse his sick son, Christopher, when he was having a hard time. What helped me for the hardest time of my life? I think I know the perfect thing to review. This is Duck Show Studios. Warning! This video contains my opinions. You have been warned. Warning! This video also contains spoilers. You have been warned. So, the worst time in my life. Well, I have autism, dyslexia, and dysgraphia. And I was put in inclusion twice. Once in high school and once in public school. And the high school one's a whole different can of worms. But today I'll be talking about the public school one. And I for 4 years at this, and I was told, you're not trying, by the teachers NEA. And then, until the second worst day in my life. So, the second worst day of my life happened when I was 10 years old. I had a teacher, and he thought I was really smart, and he also thought I was really dumb. It depended on the day. He'd say things like, and I quote, "Great, I can actually tell what this is." He was very critical about my art. If you don't think my drawing's good now, you should have seen it back then. I came a long way. And then I had a EA, and the teacher in EA would say, you're not trying. And then an example of how he thought I was really dumb, one day he was asking the class what TV character or movie character they'd want to be. And he said that he'd like to be a character, and then he said, and I quote, "I wouldn't like having," I can't remember the character's name, "following me around because he's not very smart." And he walked right up to my desk and said that. So then, here's the second worst day of my life. So, dysgraphia, if you don't know what that means you have trouble writing. Which, if you've seen my reviews and my speech bubbles that I do the characters, you might not be able to read them. I've come a long way with that too. But when I was 10, I couldn't write the letter S. So I was writing it, and he and the EA were both saying, you're not trying. And I was like, I can't do it. And then, so then they sent me to the office. There was a new principal who didn't understand my needs, like the teacher and EA. The EA went with me, and they put a desk in front of me, and a book, and a blank book with lined paper. They made me write S's on each page, and every time I failed, I kept failing and failing. Now, instead of trying to teach me how to write the letter S, they just assumed I knew. And then I was in tears. I was crying up a storm. And then I still couldn't, and then the principal said to me, you'll be back here tomorrow. And then I went home on the bus crying, because I was worried, because I was sent to the office, that my mom thought I had been bad, like my mom would be upset with me. But, to my surprise at that age, my mom was upset with the school. And therefore, that was my last day at that school, and I was sent to a special needs class, small classroom, whatever you want to call them. I call them small classrooms, but other people around me have called them special needs classrooms. Yeah, and then they actually taught me how to write the letter S. Now you're thinking, you've spent 3 minutes talking about this day. What were you going to review? Well, as you notice, there's nothing on the screen until da-da-da-da. And you're like, Thomas and the Evil Diesel? That's a pretty random thing to review for the 75th anniversary. Well, let me explain. During we lived in a small town, and they didn't have many Thomas books at their library. And one of the few they did have was Thomas and the Evil Diesel. And that book was there for the entire 4 years. It was always there for me, cheering me up during, well, as much as I could be cheered up because I was miserable. But I could be cheered up. So this book cheered me up whenever my mom or grandma, who I lived with, would read it to me. This book would cheer me up during the worst time of my life. And then, eventually, in 2018, no library in Ontario had this book. So, I bought this copy you see before you on Amazon for $2, which was a really good deal, plus shipping. So this book is very important to me. Very, very important to me. And then, so let's get on with the review. Thomas and the Evil Diesel was written in 1987 by Christopher Awdry, illustrated by Clive Spong. And then, so, I don't want to show pages of this book just because I don't want to get copyrighted, so you'll just look at the cover, if that's okay with you. I hope it is. So the plot is, Diesel returns to Sodor. Duck sees him and scuttles behind the shed and says, "It's Diesel! What's he brought back for?" And then Diesel has to help out on Thomas's branch line because Percy has been sent to the works. Toby and Thomas remember what Diesel had done in Duck the Diesel Engine. And they say to him, "No tricks." And he says, "Yes, Thomas, of course, Thomas. Anything you say, Thomas." And the trucks mock him, and then he crashes the trucks right through a fence, and the oldest and rudest truck gets smashed onto the road. And then Sir Topham Hatt comes and he sends Diesel away, but then Daisy had spilled oil on the tracks, so Diesel be's a hero and saves Clarabelle, who had come off the tracks, and helps her, Annie, and Thomas. And he sort of has a redemption, but of course, if you watch the show, you'll see that that's not the path Britt Allcroft chose. He is a villain, and very much so. So, because this book is so nostalgic and so amazing, like, it's not just nostalgic, it's a great book, I give this book an 11 out of 10. Flawless. Now, the library did have other Thomas books, like they had, but others came and went, but Thomas and the Evil Diesel outlasted them all. The only other one that outlasted them all was Little Engines Can Do Big Things, you know, that book based on the Magic Railroad, and we all know Thomas and the Evil Diesel is the superior book. And after we moved to a new town, the library didn't have Thomas and the Evil Diesel. So then I would get it from another library, like I have it on what's called an interlibrary loan, where they bring books from other libraries, and I missed this book. Like, I missed it so much, and they bring it from other libraries, but then I was told, of course, no library in Ontario has it, so then, yeah, sorry, the backstory of how I got this copy is sort of mumble-jumbled, but hope you enjoyed this review. Happy 75th anniversary, Thomas and Friends. Thanks for watching.
Hey, this is the Pterodot from 2005. Doc Chazier's very good friend. And when I was younger, I really loved Thomas, and I would love to wish him a happy 75th anniversary. And when I was younger, I rode on that train not far from here in St. Thomas, a day out with Thomas, and I remember freaking out when he blew his whistle. But I'm used to them now, and I would love to wish him a happy 75th anniversary.